I think we're recording. I've been offline for a while. The battery swelled up in the cell phone, pushed the back off. I snatched it out and threw it outside in the grass and ordered another one. And it came in 2 days. It fit perfect. Took about 6 or 8 hours for it to register any charge. Then it charged right up. Okay, this is where we left off of the is everything is working until it's not video. And what they're showing you here is they've got this, we're using one of our large window forms, window buck, the round ones, to put a vent under the solar panels, let air go from one side to the other. It's in the shade under there, but you want to keep those things as cool as you can. And this is where it went horribly wrong. The first thing is, it's supposed to be 10 inches off the concrete. Originally 16, but then changed to 10. There's a rebar up here at an angle. That's the top of the concrete. That's the angle that the solar panels sit at. It's sticking through the top of the concrete. The next problem, most serious of all, is it's in the power room. It's supposed to be out here on the other side of this dividing wall, over here someplace. Fortunately, they didn't pour that morning. It was clear. You can tell there's not a cloud in the sky, but she had them doing something else. They're calling us. I don't do the answering because I don't speak Tagalog. Anyway, we got lucky that we got a hold of them before they cranked the mixer up. There would have been a catastrophe. There you can see it again. Dividing wall on the left, you just barely make out a rebar. And this is the power room where the inverters and batteries and all go, out to about the end of where this form is. That rectangle is the power room. Another view of it. They did get it right in that we wanted the tie-in bars to go in 2 feet into this wall and then bend 18 inches down the back wall. So we have an L connection there. A lot of anchorage for that wall. They got that right. They got the forms right. They ended the forms right on the line it's supposed to be. The only thing wrong with it is the window's in the wrong section. It's supposed to be, instead of here, it's over there. Don't know where we went wrong. But where they got this vent is where the door would go on the other end. Somehow there's a confusion about where your east and your west are, and language problems or whatever. Anyway, we got it stopped in time. Another view showing the thing trying to escape. It's almost to the top. It's supposed to be down here to the bottom, and it's up there someplace. Okay. They sawed out some this is a rectangular section, and this vent window, which the buck is laying here on the right, just sort of off camera. They used a form here that they'd covered up with duct tape, because there won't be any concrete touching that. That'll all behind that form. So this could have been a 2-foot hole here. Wouldn't have made any difference. So good selection on their part, which form to put where. Did a good job on that. And you can see again, this is the beginnings of the cutout where it'll sit. It's going to sit about 1.5 inches above this bottom rebar. Okay, there it is with the panels on the front. At the right height. And you'll see we've got 10 inches between this top surface where the concrete will be. That's at 14¼ degrees. So we got a 10-inch bar of concrete up here. And they're going to put like 3 bars in that space to tie it together. Okay. It's getting ready to let go. But they got all the stuff down there. It looks like they're gonna pour that day. Yeah. Alicia, we call him Nane. You can see a little bit of cement dust floating around in there. So, and Al's bagging up some bags, the first bags they threw in. When he gets done later, or if we have an extra guy on the pour, they take 19 bags and put them in the 20th bag. That way we know that every 5 of them is 100 bags. And they only bag up ones that we can use again. You have to use them 5 times. You're measuring 3 gravel and 2 sand, and the original that's times 5, because you make 5 cubic feet out of 1 bag of Portland cement. Well, just trust me. The first use is the fresh used bag that only had Portland cement in it. So you dump it out, and he's going to use it 5 more times, twice on sand and 3 times on gravel. The gravel tears it up pretty good, so after that it's gone. Anyway, Al's bagging. That's Boy and Alicio. If we weren't really low on cash, we're doing this on Social Security, but at the same time we're pouring this concrete, which means we have to buy sand and gravel. We buy 42 cubic meters at a time. The truck holds 40 and they overfill it. And the other 2 meters is for the guy who steers the business to the truck driver. So it works for them, works for us. I wouldn't care if they could put 50 on the truck. Less deliveries you make, the less the transportation costs you. I forget exactly what it is we're paying for sand and gravel, but it's about half what you would pay if you bought it in Elf's, maybe less than half. These motors here, you have to shut the gas off at the end of the day and just let it run. You'll hear the mixer stop. If you don't run that gas out, it will evaporate out of the air vent in the carburetor, and more gas runs in, and pretty soon you filled the whole needle and seat and half the carburetor full of the stuff that's dissolved in gasoline. It burns just fine if you're running gas through the motor, but when it sits there and the concentration goes up, it wedges all the parts, and when you take it apart, it's cast zinc, and you try to loosen it up with WD-40 or more gasoline or whatever. When you try to push that pin out of the float, about 2 times out of 3, it's going to break one of them tabs off. Not that I haven't run carburetors on one tab in the Philippines, but I'd go out and buy a new one for 2,250 pesos and stick it on there. But if they'll run it when they're done, you last forever. And they're throwing more stuff in. Okay. Oh. We had about a 2-inch bow in the rebar on this wall. This is where the dirt pile is sort of half into the work area. The idea was to move the slab across this rice paddy so we had a 3-foot working space here. Another little communications gap. They moved it only what it took to put the foundation in front of the dirt pile, so they got nowhere to work with their forms. Not that doesn't work. I mean, they got the form set up and they poured the bottom piece. And the other one, forms go straight up. But being that this is, well, we're going to put Sahara in the all above wall things to keep condensation down. Electronics like inverters and BMS units and several other things that's in there just don't like condensation. Also, we can't keep the humidity down in the house or the worker's house or anyplace else enough to run the incubator. The air is just naturally damper than the humidity you need for eggs. I don't know if all the Philippines is that way, but our incubator has never hatched an egg. It's a nice incubator. So if we can't get the humidity down in this room, we're going to put a dehumidifier in it, and at that point probably an air conditioner too. And once you're into it, a little bit, you may as well go all the way. air conditioner is probably cheaper than dehumidifier. But you got to remember, we're making, let's see, 7 times the electricity with the solar arrays it takes to run this property. So electric is free, you know. But we don't give to the neighbors and the people living on the property and get credits from Meralco. The rest of it, I don't know what we're going to do with it other than, turn off a few PV disconnects and just let them sit there. Anyway, he's showing that he's actually straightened that wall. That was a 2-inch bow in that top to bottom, and they fixed it. Which took probably a pretty good kink on the bottom where it comes out of the concrete. But that's all right. It's doweled into the floor really well. Oh, this tarp up here, these guys, they generally don't put tarps up unless they're digging a big hole, and they're going to be digging in the same place for a week, like the cistern or something like that. But it's been pouring down rain, and we hadn't straightened up with them yet about making the concrete furniture in the house and the countertops and everything. All the materials that we need for the forms are there, and the drawings are printed, and we're going to get them onto that. I didn't tell them much about it because I wanted them to save it for rainy day work. I wanted these guys to work full time. You know, there's no use having to, just pay them to sit and watch it rain or lay them off. Don't want to lay them off. Hard to find good help. Not so hard in the Philippines, but I'm used to having it be hard in the U.S., so I want to hang on to them. I can't tell if there's concrete in that hole. It looks kind of like they've poured it already at that point. Looks to me like it's little stones and stuff that's up here on top of the surface. They don't do a lot of finishing on these walls. Sort of keys it together a little bit better when you pour the next layer, the next lift. Oh, you can see our diagonal up here. That's the height of the sloped wall. Back wall is the same height. You'll notice they put an extra bar up here, even though it's not the full height. The double bars would have been up here, but they'd have been out of the concrete. So they dropped those down 2 inches below the concrete for the top one, 3 inches more for the next one. Okay. It rained the day before, and they got a little wet. So they got some tarpaulin fabric strung. You got to remember it's over 100 degrees, so just for that reason alone, it's not a problem putting the tarp up. Those big poly tarps, they'll get expensive if you get them out and ripped all to pieces with the wind. They're woven, and they don't really stand it very well. These ones are just like a rolled sheet. It's not made to be durable in the sun or anything else, but it stops water and it holds up in wind better than the ones tended to be tarps. We buy this stuff to put it underneath the concrete. It comes in orange and blue. He's a looking. And you can see that vent over here where it doesn't stick up very much. He's calling somebody. And I would say we've got karaoke playing in the background here. I bet the neighbors love that. So they're whacking down weeds. And you can tell that they put those forms there. They didn't pour this wall yet, but they managed to assemble forms and put bolts in it with the dirt falling in on the back of it. But they're gonna dig them out of place here now. I don't have the heart to tell them we're going to backfill that within about a foot of the top. One, so we can walk up to the top to clean the panels, and two, because if you sink the concrete down in the earth, to some point, it keeps getting cooler. In the U.S., it goes down to about 72 or 73 degrees. However, after a certain depth in the Philippines, it starts getting hotter again. And when you dig a dug well, it's like 140 degrees down there where they're digging. So we bought I guess it's a 1.5 horsepower Tubiaxial fan. And now I'm going to have Gloria sew us up a trunk out of this fabric that they got hanging over their head, so we can accordion it up and down. And so we'll be blowing enough air keep the crows rippling in the wind down there. And also we have 3,000 watt solar street lights that we can put on the top, and then we can hang LED bulbs down there. We're going to make it bright as a Walmart parking lot, and we'll probably have a 4-gallon ice water jug down there with them. And anytime that the conditions, they're not feeling good or woozy, the orders are, get the hell out of the hole. It's awful hard to haul these guys up out of there. This guy's only like 5'2" or 3", but he weighs 170 pounds. Try to pull him up out of a well. Now, rather than do that, the idea is we're gonna let them get out of that well when they feel bad. I used to work on dry kilns. People tell you, oh, they've been off 2 days. You look at the temperature chart when you walk through up into the fan deck, and an hour before you go there, you're still running at 175 degrees. I tell my buddy Howard and Mike and them, I says, if you all feel the least bit faint, you head for the door. You don't have to come and warn me. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to yell or holler. Get yourself out there into the cool. And because if you pass out here, I'm not going to be able to drag you to that door. I'm going to just take you and roll you off the edge of this fan deck to the concrete 12 feet below. And you're going to bounce down there. Of course, it'll be colder than hell down there. But I can't drag you out. And I won't leave you in here. So I'm just going to push you off. So the rule is you get out when you start feeling... Well, the rule is if you start seeing black and white, tap somebody on the shoulder as you go out. If you pass anybody, let them know you're really in trouble. But if you get feeling faint, head for the door. When you start seeing in black and white, figure you're going to be on the deck looking at sideways. It's not a good feeling because the metal's hot. Okay, so he's whacking out this undergrowth. It's a shame we can't grow peppers and tomatoes and vegetables and stuff. All that it grows is this kind of stuff. You can grow okra and cassava and sweet potatoes. I eat sweet potatoes. The other cassava tastes like pine lumber to me, and never did like okra. Every time I've had it, it's been cooked where it's all slimy. Don't like slimy food. If all I had to eat was okra, I'd probably starve to death. Anyway, that's the 4 guys working right now. I told my wife, be honest with them, that the reason there's only 4 of them working right now is because people have left for one reason or another, either better jobs or conflicts with other people on the job site, and they just don't want to work together. You get some of that. It comes and goes. In any event, we didn't replace them. And the reason is we're trying to buy all this solar stuff off of Social Security, plus pay their thing and keep them working. So the ones who voluntarily leave, we don't replace them. If we let somebody go, we would replace them, but we have never let anybody go. So, not in 6 years. Oh, I'm standing on end. What are we doing here? Oh, I got it. There's our vent window down at the bottom. This is the second lift. It's going to pour to the height of this rebar that's showing here. The diagonal rebar. And almost even with the form, almost to the top of the form up here. But they know how much. Oh, this is a good example of that the forms overlap. You'll notice that the, oh, you can't see that. Wait a minute. Mike can see it now. There's a flange on the phenolic board here. And this thing that we run the bolts through to space the forms apart, it's not on the top edge. But it leaves its bolt holes from when you poured the first layer. When you raise it up, this backer is on the edge. So these bolt holes go in the holes left by these up there. And that gives you what you see at the bottom down here, this much overlap on your slip forms. Now, if we'd have them go by with a square point shovel and just scrape it down that edge and run it back and forth across the wall, this like the shape of the wall, then it would be completely flush. But we got lazy about it. Texas Filipino got lazy about it. Not as lazy as us. We never did do it. He used to camp on his first floor, but then they got ready to get something done, and I think a lot of the things that they did with their original slip forms sort of went away when they got to the second floor. He was still doing slip forms though, but instead of doing lifts like the originals, he was doing them 8 foot high like we did the first floor of our house here. Still the same thing. Okay, you can see. Well, you can see on the right. That's how much overlap you have. That's so that this concrete gets heavy in here. It won't try to lean over and bust off the top of your previous wall. That just gives it some leverage because the bolts are down here in this bottom 2x3. And all this backer stuff is what we call good wood, like Nara, something like that. And we have Boyette. Yeah, he's in his glory now. He's in the living room. You can tell because it's got a big interior window into the kitchen, a door into the kitchen here, and back there is another door into the kitchen. We put a window vent in this just for security reasons so we could lock off the kitchen, the pantry, the master bath, and the master bedroom. The place we're actually going to live in this house. Well, see, we had 29 rooms. I guess we have 30, 31. We have 32 rooms now. But we need 4. And they're all big rooms. So we're going to secure this down. And then the outside doors and the outside windows. Just have someplace to live. And this got all kinds of crap on the floor down here. They'll sweep that up every once in a while. Probably after he's done here, they'll polish that right back down. It's not quite as slick as the wall, but it's pretty good. This guy that does the finishing, he puts a nice finish on everything. The blue pipes down here, you got a green C-clamp here. That's our 12-inch opening C-clamp. A block of Nara. Takes the pipe off the pile, pushes against that. This is a 10-inch Azito, made in Australia. Miter saw. We've had it since 2014. So he whacks them off and pulls it over and whacks them off and makes bags of them. Now my wife told him to knock them out of the walls as he goes and reuse them because we want to fill those holes in the wall for water penetration reasons. And the concrete doesn't stick to that pipe. So we actually need them knocked out of the walls down there at the solar thing. We told them we didn't care if they knocked them out or not on the house up here because we were going to render it anyway. We were rendering it because we tightened the bolts and distorted the plastic pipe and couldn't knock them out and couldn't cut them out. We'd had to drill them out. And there's a lot of them. They're every 18 inches over every bit of wall in the house. So we just left them. Also, you'll note that this pipe is blue, not orange. Last I looked, the orange was like 134 pesos for 10 feet in 3/4 inch. This is 88 pesos for 10 feet in 3/4 inch. So if you're going to use them for spacers for pouring concrete, particularly if you're going to knock them back out of the wall and reuse them or throw them away or whatever, no use buying orange when you can buy blue. It works exactly the same. This is plumbing and the other one's electrical. Could not tell you if there's any difference in the plastic other than the dye. But in any event, blue is cheaper. They both get stuck in the wall or knock out about the same. And you see we got 23. Got 30 bags of Portland cement. That's enough to do one of those corners down there on the ground mountain. She bought 150 bags, so the rest of it might be on the other side of that wall. Also, amongst his stockpile, he got two cases of Sahara there, one partly empty and one never opened. This is the way you buy your tie wire. I think it's 20 kilograms. It's 1/4 the price as those little rolls that are about. Well, they just separate about an inch by inch of this, and put like tape around it, because a lot of people don't like to buy a lot of stuff in the Philippines in bulk. We pay more for the tricycle to go after it than we pay for the stuff sometimes. So the same thing with the sand and gravel. I don't mind buying 42 cubic meters. We've done it half a dozen times or more, and it all gets used. It's right down to the ground again now. Okay, this video is run forever. So, say a little prayer for the people who's recovering from COVID. Hope that they'll get the Philippines open to visa-only travel, and that the Russians will get some sense and go home in Ukraine. But all them people need a little prayer. And we're just going to stick this video up in one piece. I'm hoping to show a completed corner. I think they got a clear day today, and they're probably going to pour the second lift on that northwest corner. I'm not sure how much of the back wall they're doing. They're supposed to be half the length of the back wall. That's 22 bags for the whole L. But I'm not sure how much he's got them actually doing. I'm sure they know that they're agreeing on it, whatever it is. They pretty much agree with whatever you tell them. But sometimes they'll ask her about things. Because they're doing it. They're there and they can see it. Okay. So we're going to pause this and try to convert it on Movie Maker and upload it and all that other crap.